Testing. Good? Can you hear me?
Time go.
Alright. G'day, my name's Jonathan Lai. I'm coming from Australia. I'm part of the awesome team of Just Split It, and this is going to be awesome. Alright, so how many of you all go to restaurants and eat? How many eat with friends? Cool, so you can use the application. Alright, how many of you have ever asked yourself these questions when you've been at a restaurant and it's just a bit awkward? See, what we're here to solve is that the problems that we face currently are twofold. We have the restaurants, and the problems with the restaurants are the reduced hospitality. So we have our servers coming back and forth, playing with 5 different credit cards, not having enough time to actually give us a service for a nice tip. We have increase in chargebacks when they get mixed up during peak hours and they lose the money. And it's also an outdated process going through the credit transaction. What we face with the customers is that it's socially awkward when you have one drink and there are 5 rounds being bought and you have to split that bill. And there's also credit card security when your server's out the back and you don't know what they're doing with the credit cards. And it's also just a hassle of splitting bills and pulling out your calculator and just saying, well, you owe me $1 because you didn't tip this guy enough. Alright? And all these things are solved by Just Split It. So let's go through a demo. This is just a flash demo. So it's a web app on one end, but we're also linked with the restaurants as well. So it's a group sharing, bill splitting application where one person can take the lead and be the head of the table. And with that, what we have to integrate with the restaurants is a code being printed out at the bottom of your bill. And you enter that code into this app, or into this window. And from there, the list of all the items you've ordered during the night have come up, and you can select the ones you've picked. So in a group sense, people who have connected with you through Bluetooth, click on what they have, and it creates the bill for them. It comes up with an invoice, the tax automatically calculated. You can choose a percentage of the tip you want to give, and the total comes up through there. And when you click submit, the pie gets filled up as 100% of the bill gets paid. So if you've got 4 people and they all pay, it'll just automatically fill up, and that's when you can actually make a payment. So the payment goes through. The payment will actually go through our servers. So each individual will get their credit card that's linked to the account, charged through our server, and we pay the restaurant in one transaction. We get that confirmation code and we write that down on the bottom of our bill, and that's what the server takes when they finish with our table. From there, we've got a few cool little features that we have added as well. Things like meal roulette, so you can actually choose, it's an actual application where you can actually choose randomly who gets to pay for the whole bill. And also things like for the birthday split, which you can just split the difference of what the birthday person has eaten or drank, and that just gets divided automatically throughout the people involved. Alright. So how this appeals to customers? Well, firstly, it's fair. You can click what you've eaten and what you've drank, and you can just select that automatically, and it calculates it for you. It's also efficient, so by paying online, you can just do that, get the bills, put in the code, and then leave, and you don't have to really wait. The security is that the credit cards are verified and stored on our servers, and that prevents credit card fraud. How this appeals to restaurants? It's a lower potential for data theft. There's an increase in turnover because the process of paying and processing the cards gets reduced. there's fewer chargebacks because everything's tracked. It's all, there's a lack, everything's tracked electronically, so we know, the restaurant knows what customer's eaten and what card it's linked to.
60 seconds.
And it's either the same or lower cost as the credit card processing fee through the merchant banks. And that's our presentation. We are at justsplit.it, and our Twitter is at justsplitit. We have a front-end iPhone application working, so if you'd like to come play with it at the end, just come see me or our team, and you can have a play. Thank you.
Open up the account, yeah.
How do you make money from this?
Hey, Alex. Can we set up a separate microphone that we can pass around to the judges, by chance?
Sure.
Great, thanks.
For that, I'll let our CEO look after it.
Hey, the question was, how do you make money? So right now, mom and pop shops around the city all have relatively small contracts with merchant services providers. They may do several $1,000s worth of volume through a given, or during a given night, which means that they tend to pay a higher rate to the credit card companies in order to process those transactions. So what we do is we have a contract with one merchant services provider. We have a lot more volume because we're aggregating the payments from many different customers, and then we are able to take the spread. Does that make sense? So we might pay 2.5%, whereas the merchant would normally pay 2.9%. So there's a 0.4% spread. And in a market that has a $50 billion transaction volume per year, that 0.4% can turn into a lot.
If you guys could just answer next question, and you just repeat the question and then answer it.
Lots of the local payment stuff that's happening, that don't need the back-end integration from a restaurant. You know, some of it is going to be, you know, just through your phone, through your cell, you know, however those payment systems happen. Won't that, you know, kind of affect what you guys got this experience?
Part of the appeal, the question was, how do we deal with the fact that there are lots of competitors like SquareUp or the PayPal bump application, I think you're referring to, that allow people to transfer money back and forth more quickly. That tends to follow a reimbursement model. I would think if you use that at a restaurant, one person would pay for dinner, and then you'd have to use those types of technologies to reimburse people, reimburse the person who paid. What this would allow is you could actually see what everybody ate. Each person can pick what he or she ate. So the value added of our product is that it taps into the back end of the existing point-of-sale systems at restaurants. People don't have to actually add up what they think they owe. It does that calculation for them.
This sounds great when you have your big in every restaurant because it has it, all your friends have the application. How do you get ubiquity, at least in the local sense?
I think a good way to get to ubiquity would be to have a contract with a franchise where we can have one agreement that gets spread out to multiple restaurants at the same time. It's a network effect. We would have to actually come up with a sales strategy to get this to a lot of different places at once. Because to your point, it will not be a good thing if there are multiple applications doing the same type of, providing the same type of service. You'll have to have 5 applications, 5 different accounts in order to accomplish the same thing. Yes?
This question is for the crowd. How many people would rather pay a bit more and not be the guy or the girl who says, let's all figure out exactly what we owe and then do it that way?
Was that question specifically is, let's not take out our calculator and figure it out, or is that's, I'd rather throw my credit card than use just not.
Yeah, that's not it.
So you're saying just split it nitpicks? That was, okay.
Well, it's something, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think I understood your question. If I understood it that way, I would have answered differently. I'm tired of paying everybody's heavy alcohol bill when I've only bought a hamburger.
Yeah.
I love this.
My point is that I think about stuff like Venmo, where the payment is a little bit more of a social. We find that people are willing to maybe pay a premium, so that it's not a social cost of working this stuff out. So when people like to talk about money, right?
Right, and that's specifically the problem that we created this to address. People don't like saying, I didn't eat more than one chip of that nacho dish, so I don't want to have to pay for it. People just throw in their credit card and they end up overpaying. So what this allows you to do is there's this integrated social process of just paying for what you actually ate in the first place.
So what happens when in the very unlikely circumstances, everyone says they pay for what they want to pay for, and 20% of the bill is left uncovered? How do you deal with that social audience?
Who ordered the spinach dip and didn't select it? I think that it would show you which item had been selected.
In addition, actually, we have things called divided difference. We also have another thing which is called divided difference, which is at the end of the time, if there's still like $20, basically you say, well, just divide the difference and get split between all the bills.
There's also, I mean, there doesn't necessarily have to be a linear way where you can pay. This is just an easier way than looking at credit cards. It doesn't have to be. I think that's an added benefit of people who are saying paying for other people's beers, but it doesn't. That's one option.
All right, we have time for one more question. The group from the audience. The next team, Traverses, will be up here setting up the technology. Yes.
So how do you select, how does it know what you ate, what you drank, how does it keep track of it? Do you have to manually input it?
So the question is, how does the bill get input into the device in the first place in order for people to be able to select their items? We would build a plugin that would work with the existing point-of-sale software at restaurants. That type of software is usually provided by a company like Micros or Aloha. And it would transmit the information to our servers, and then the device would connect to our servers, download it to